Tonight's event went pretty good. You know, as bullfighters, you kind of hope for nights like this. It was a fairly easy night as far as our job goes. You know, the pen of bulls that was out tonight, you know, didn't have a whole lot of hook to them. They just came out and bucked and then went out the out gate. And so it kind of made our job a little bit easier, but that doesn't change what we have to do. We still have to be in the right place at the right time and just be there just in case. I've been fighting bulls for about 10 years now, and I've been in the PRCA as a professional bullfighter in the PBR for right at about 8 years. This is my full-time job. I've been fortunate enough to get hired at enough rodeos year-round that this is what I do full-time. I'm usually on the road 10 months out of the year, going from rodeo to rodeo every weekend, so it keeps me pretty busy. Growing up, I played football and lacrosse growing up, and you know, my dream was always to go play college sports, and I actually was recruited to go play lacrosse out on the East Coast. And right before I was about to move over there and start two-a-day practices, I kind of had a change of heart. I decided not to go, and I went to Montana State University instead to learn how to fly airplanes. So kind of a childhood dream of mine was to grow up and fly airplanes. My uncle was a pilot. He took me up a couple times, and it just kind of always had an interest in it. And so when I decided not to play college sports, I went up to Montana State to learn how to fly planes. When I was going to college and I was learning how to fly planes, I got a job at the airport just to learn about the aviation industry. And my boss, actually, the guy who hired me at the airport, he was a professional bullfighter himself. So when I was just getting to know him and being around him a little bit more, I learned that he was a bullfighter, and went to some of his rodeos and watched him fight bulls, and I just got to be really interested in what he did, because you know, growing up being an athlete and then going to college and not doing that anymore, I really missed just that inner athlete in myself. And I always loved the sport of rodeo, but I never participated in it growing up. So when I saw him, I just really wanted to do what he did and be an athlete again. And so he took me to Montana State's rodeo practices every Monday and Wednesday and taught me right there in the arena how to fight bulls. And I kind of got to the point where I was getting more and more rodeos booked, and my flying schedule and my bullfighting schedule started to kind of interact, and I had to choose between the two, and I decided to follow my heart and chose rodeo. And the true grit that is involved in this sport, you know, guys are getting on with injuries because if they don't get on, they can't compete and they don't get paid. And a lot of these guys, this is how they make their living for their families and stuff, and so they're getting on with broken hands, broken arms, dislocated shoulders, all kinds of injuries, just to try and put a plate of food on for their family. And it goes with us bullfighters too. You know, I'm not getting paid unless I'm out in that arena, so I fight through a lot of injuries just to keep these guys safe and get a paycheck at the end of the day. Fortunately, I haven't had any serious injuries. You know, we're always dealing with bumps and bruises, and we're always getting banged up. I've never had an injury where I required surgery or anything like that. But you know, I've seen bullfighters break their back, and I mean, it's a pretty serious deal, but I've been pretty fortunate. The thing with bulls is they're so unpredictable. One day they can do this, the next day they can do that. A lot of them, they'll have tendencies, and you'll know kind of which ones have a tendency to be meaner than others. But the thing about it with our job is we don't have time to think, okay, this bull's gonna be a little meaner. We have to do our job regardless, and we have to be in that spot at that time, whether that bull's mean or not. So I don't pay attention to bulls' tendencies. I take it jump for jump, and the thing about fighting bulls is you don't have time to think, and you're out there reacting. So when a guy's coming off, I'm just reacting to the situation and taking the cards as they come. Recently, I've been pretty fortunate to partner up with Fremont Motors. They got me into a brand new 2018 Ram 3500 that pulls my Trails West trailer all summer long, all across the country. You know, I'm traveling 40,000 miles a year hauling that trailer from rodeo to rodeo, and it's pretty comforting knowing that I'm in a Fremont pickup. Fremont got me hooked up with a pretty cool truck wrap. It's got a picture of me on there, and it got Fremont motors, and it's a pretty slick looking wrap. My plans for the future, you know, is to just keep fighting bulls as long as I can. Hopefully we can go for another 10 years, but after rodeo said and done, you know, I can always fall back on that aviation degree that I have. You know, I've kind of lived my life by the seat of my pants, you know, and there's no telling where my life's going to take me. You know, in high school, if you'd have told me I'd been a professional bullfighter, I'd probably laughed at you.